The grocery store was unusually quiet that evening. The hum of refrigerators and the faint rustle of snack bags filled the silence. Daniel, a single father in his mid-30s, walked slowly down the aisles with his 8-year-old daughter, Lily. His life had not been easy since his wife passed away 3 years ago, but he tried every day to be both father and mother to his little girl. They weren't rich, but Daniel believed that what Lily needed most wasn't money, it was love, stability, and presence. At the checkout counter, Daniel placed a small collection of items on the belt. Cereal, milk, a loaf of bread, and a few apples. He glanced at Lily, who hugged the cereal box against her chest like it was a treasure. Daniel smiled at her, but his attention quickly shifted to the cashier. She was young, perhaps in her 20s, with tired eyes and her hair tied back in a neat ponytail. Her hands shook as she picked up the items and scanned them, one after another. She tried to steady them against the register, but it was obvious. Daniel noticed. Lily noticed too. Finally, Daniel leaned forward gently and asked, "Are you okay? Your hands are shaking." The cashier froze for a second, her lip trembling as if she was holding back tears. Then, she looked up with eyes full of something Daniel recognized immediately, fear mixed with shame. She whispered, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to. It's just, I haven't eaten since yesterday." Daniel was stunned. He hadn't expected that answer. He thought maybe she was cold, nervous, or new to the job. But the words hit him harder than he could have imagined. Here was a young woman, working hard behind the counter, serving customers all day, and she hadn't even eaten. Daniel asked quietly, "Why haven't you eaten?" Her eyes darted toward the back of the store, where a stern-looking manager stood with folded arms, watching. She lowered her voice even further. "I've been covering double shifts. Rent is due, and I'm behind. I just can't afford to buy food for myself right now." Lily's eyes widened, and she tugged at her father's sleeve. "Daddy, she's hungry." Daniel's heart ached. Memories of his own struggles after his wife's passing flooded back. Nights when he didn't know how to stretch $20 to cover groceries, gas, and school lunches. He remembered what it felt like to be desperate, and he couldn't just walk away. He pulled out his wallet and slid a $20 bill across the counter. "This isn't much," he said softly, "but please, buy yourself something to eat when you get a break." The cashier blinked in shock, her hands shaking harder as she pushed the bill back toward him. "I can't take this. I'd get in trouble if they saw me accepting money." Daniel thought for a moment. Then, he picked up a candy bar from the display and placed it on the counter. "Ring this up for me." She did. He paid. Then, instead of putting the candy bar in his bag, he placed it right back on the counter in front of her. This is yours," he said firmly. "Nobody can stop you from eating something I bought." Her lips parted, but no words came out. Her eyes filled with tears as she clutched the candy bar, whispering, thank you so much." That small act opened the door to a longer conversation. Daniel asked her name. "Emily," she said. She was 22, putting herself through school, and trying to help her younger brother, who had recently been diagnosed with a chronic illness. Their parents weren't in the picture anymore, and Emily was doing everything she could to keep them both afloat. Daniel listened, and the more she shared, the more his respect for her grew. She wasn't weak, she was strong, stronger than most people her age. But even strong people sometimes need someone to notice their pain. As the weeks went by, Daniel and Lily made it a point to go through Emily's checkout line whenever they shopped. Sometimes they brought her a sandwich or a cup of coffee. Lily drew her pictures with bright crayons, writing, "Don't give up," at the top. Slowly, Emily's smile returned. But the challenges weren't over. Emily's manager wasn't kind. He often criticized her for being too slow, for being distracted, even though she was doing everything possible. One day, Daniel witnessed him raising his voice at her in front of customers. Emily stood there, tears in her eyes, gripping the counter as if she might break. Daniel stepped forward. "That's enough," he said firmly. "You don't speak to people like that." The manager scowled. This is none of your business, sir. But Daniel didn't back down. When you humiliate your employees in public, it becomes everyone's business. She deserves respect. She deserves kindness. If this is how you treat hard-working staff, then shame on you. Other customers nodded in agreement. The manager, realizing he had drawn unwanted attention, muttered something under his breath and stormed off. Emily stood there stunned, wiping her eyes. "Why did you do that for me?" she whispered after. Daniel looked at her with sincerity. "Because you matter. And because once upon a time, someone stood up for me when I couldn't stand up for myself." From that moment, Emily started to believe she wasn't as alone as she thought. She continued working, but with a new sense of courage. Daniel even helped her connect with a local food pantry and community program that supported young adults in crisis. Slowly but surely, Emily's circumstances improved. Months later, Emily managed to graduate from her program. At her small celebration, Daniel and Lily were there, cheering the loudest. Emily hugged them both, tears streaming down her cheeks. "I wouldn't be here if you hadn't cared. You gave me hope when I was ready to give up." Daniel smiled. "No, Emily. You already had the strength inside you. You just needed someone to remind you." The story of that night in the grocery store became more than just a memory, it became a lesson for all of them.